All right, let's dive right into one of the biggest, oldest questions humanity has ever asked itself. It's a question that has shaped just about every civilization and belief system for, well, forever. Why is there so much pain? I mean, why do good people suffer, while so often it seems like the bad guys get ahead? For literally thousands of years, the world's great religions and philosophies have wrestled with this exact problem, trying to give us some way to make sense of a world that, let's be honest, often feels pretty broken. And what's so interesting is that many of the world's biggest belief systems, even though they're wildly different, they all kind of start their answer from a similar place. It has something to do with the individual, with us. So let's just take a quick look at three major examples. In Hinduism, you've got the idea of karma, right? It provides this framework where the suffering you experience now, well, it could be the result of things you did in a past life. Then you have Christianity with the doctrine of original sin. This suggests that all of humanity inherited a kind of flawed, fallen nature from our very first ancestors, and that's why the world is full of struggle. And in Islam, hardships are often seen as a divine test from God, something designed to prove your faith and make it stronger. Do you see the pattern here? It's fascinating. Whether it's your past life's actions, a flaw you inherited, or a test you have to pass, at the end of the day, the responsibility for suffering is traced right back to the individual in some way. But what if there's another way to look at all this? What if the fault isn't with us at all? There's an ancient tradition that comes at this from a totally different angle, one that just completely breaks this pattern of individual blame. And here it is. This is the big twist. Instead of saying the problem is located inside the person, their soul, their sin, their faith, the Jewish viewpoint suggests something radical. It says the problem isn't with the individual. The problem is with the system, the world itself. This whole perspective is built on an idea you could call a systemic flaw. It argues that when creation happened, it wasn't 100% perfect out of the box. There was some kind of imbalance, a sort of crack in the very foundation of the universe. So the suffering we see, it's not a punishment or a test. It's just a symptom of a world that started out imperfect. Now, if you accept that idea, it changes everything. Absolutely everything. Because if the system is what's flawed, then our entire purpose for being here gets redefined. The focus snaps away from blaming people and points directly toward taking action. This just completely reframes the whole conversation. The goal is no longer to figure out whose fault it is. Not yours, not your ancestors, nobody's. Instead, the only question that really matters is, okay, things are broken. How do we start fixing it? So this worldview basically gives humanity a really clear mission. First, you just have to acknowledge that the world is imperfect by design. Second, you stop the blame game entirely and focus on repair. And third, you actively jump in and start mending the world through justice, through compassion, through innovation, whatever it takes. And this quote just nails it. The primary duty isn't about finding a scapegoat. It's about figuring out how suffering can be fixed and reduced. It's a total shift from looking for a reason for the pain to finding a remedy for it. This approach is also really clever because it neatly avoids two huge philosophical traps. First, you don't end up blaming the victim. Someone who's sick isn't being punished for something. They're just experiencing a glitch in the system. And second, it avoids making God seem like the author of all this injustice. Instead, God becomes more like a partner in this huge cosmic project of repair. And all of this builds up to a really powerful and frankly optimistic vision of what it means to be human. The goal isn't just to somehow survive a flawed world, it's to actively get in there and transform it. Think about it. So many philosophies see this world as a temporary stop, a place of suffering that you have to endure so you can escape to somewhere better. This view flips that completely on its head. The world isn't a waiting room, it's a workshop. It's a huge collaborative project, and we're the builders who are supposed to finish it. So you get this incredible story with a clear beginning, middle, and end. Creation starts out imperfect. Then humanity comes along and enters into a partnership to actively fix those flaws. And the ultimate goal? To bring about what's called Olam Haba, the world to come. A world that's finally repaired, perfected, and complete. Which leaves us with a pretty fascinating thought to chew on. If an entire culture believes, at its core, that the world is fundamentally broken and that their job is to fix it, how does that shape history? You can see how an idea like that could fuel this relentless drive to innovate in medicine, in law, in social reform. You could even argue it's the intellectual bedrock for some revolutionary thinkers, from social justice pioneers all the way to Karl Marx. It's a powerful reminder that some ideas don't just seek to explain the world, they seek to change it.